Vakratunda Mahakaya, Suryakoti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, Saraswati Namastobhyam, Varade Kamarupini, Vidyarambham Karishyami, Siddhe Bhavatu Me Sada. Om. That's also.
Hari Om. So the first slok I read was about praying Lord Ganesha. We talked about him last time, I think. And
Yes.
And the second is Goddess Saraswati, who is a goddess of knowledge, wisdom. So we pray to her. So very nice. So every time, somebody should think of some prayer. You can write it down. You don't have to remember. If you remember, it's fine. If you don't remember, it's fine. But read some slok or prayer. We take turn, right? So that way we, over the period of time, we'll memorize. So as usual, in the chat box, write your name and your roll number. Right? So last week, where did we stop? Do you remember, or last time?
Yes.
So we were talking about Ganesh Chaturthi, sir.
Okay, we talked about that. But in Ramayana story, how far did we come?
We discussed about
we discussed about the and their demons. Ram killed the demons.
So where did we stop? I forgot that. Raise your hand. So one person at a time. Yeah, okay. Ayati, you want to say where did we stop last time? Yeah, go ahead, beta.
So I think the place that we stopped is where you told us that Ram was there to kill the demons.
Mm-hmm. Did we talk about Ahilya's story?
No.
Yeah, I think we didn't talk about. So we did talk about that sage Vishwamitra comes to Dashrath's court and tells that, look, all these demons are bothering me and I need your help. And King Dashrath said, okay, I can come and help you out. And I have got a huge army. I can send my army and they kill all the demons. That's not a problem. Right? Did we talk about that? So, sage Vishwamitra says, oh, well, thank you very much, but I want Ram. I don't want you. You are an old man. No, he didn't say you are an old man. But he basically he was interested in Ram because he had realized that Ram is not just a Ram. He's just not a human being. He is incarnation of Lord Vishnu, incarnation of God. So he had come to see Ram and take Ram with him. So that a bigger purpose is served. And that bigger purpose we'll talk very quickly today. That he wanted to tell the whole world, showcase. We use the word showcase. He wanted to showcase Ram to the whole world that, Ram is just not a prince. He's just not an ordinary prince. Those days there were a lot of kingdoms, a lot of kings and a lot of princes. So what is the big deal about being a prince? It was not like it was just one big prince of the whole India. There were so many states. So he would be just one of those many princes all over the country or all over the nation. So nobody would know what's the big deal. But he wanted to showcase that Ram is not an ordinary person, not an ordinary human being. He's something very different. And to be different, we have to do different things, right? Now, in your class, in your school, how many students are there? Let me ask Shreyans. Shreyans, how many students are in your class, in school that you go to?
I think
About, we don't need exact number.
I think
25?
25, yeah.
Something, 2023. Mihir, how many students are there in your class, in your school?
Sir, there are 35.
35. So it could be anywhere from 15 to 50, depending upon the school and the class size and all that. So you have 35 students or 30 students, but to stand out, well, you can say, okay, he is a student in my class, she is a student in my class and all that. But to stand out, that student has to do something very different. Maybe that student is very good in studies, he or she is topper, or maybe very good singer, or maybe very good cricket player, something, right? So then you stand out. If 35, you are one of the 35s and you do the same things as everybody else does, then you don't stand out. You're just like anybody else. To stand out, you have to be something very different. For example, you may be the only one in the class who knows Ramayana very well. You stand out because of that reason. So for Ram to stand out in the whole world, Vishwamitra said he has to do something, something different. He can't be simply a prince of a king. After some years, King Dasharatha will retire and Ram will become king. So what's the big deal? It happens all the time. Kings retire, their sons become king, and they rule for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And they die or retire, and their son becomes king and goes on. So they don't go in the history. Nobody knows that. Unless somebody comes, somebody does something different. That is the real reason Vishwamitra comes and says, I want only Ram. Okay, so reluctantly, of course, no father likes that their son is taken away or daughter is taken away at a young age. At that time, we don't have very documented history how old Ram was, but generally it's understood he was still a teenager, probably 15, 16 at that age. That's pretty young, right? So at that young age, who wants to send his son or daughter, but in this case, son, to a forest and that to fight with demons? That it's a very difficult thing to do for any father. But then, his guru advised him, the same guru who helped him to get these 4 sons, that don't worry, Ram is not an ordinary son. He is very brave. Nothing will happen to him. Sage Vishwamitra has come. He is also not a very ordinary sage. He himself is a very big warrior and very big fighter, but he has given up all that up. So if he has come for a reason. So sage King Dasharatha agrees to that reluctantly, though, and Ram goes with Vishwamitra. And as we talked, I think earlier, Ram and Lakshmana always will hang out together, right? So sometimes you hang out with your friend, your class of 30 people, but that's just 2 or 3 people you hang out with. You don't hang out with all 35, right? So it just happens. You don't plan like that, right? You just kind of feel comfortable with some of your fellow students in the class, 2, 3, 4, and you kind of just hang out. So thus Ram and Lakshmana used to hang out since they were born, and similarly Bharata and Shatrughan will hang out since they were born. It just happened, not like it was planned thing. So they go together with Vishwamitra to forest, and when they reach near ashram, then Vishwamitra alerts them, look, we are entering the territory, and that's where all these demons are, and that's where my ashram is. So be careful, they can attack us anytime. So Ram says, don't worry, we'll take care of you. You have come to our father to seek help, and our father has sent us. We both brothers have come to help. And while they were talking, a demon comes and attacks them. Which demon comes and attacks them? Anybody knows the name? Oh, go ahead, Anjali. Tadka, very good. So Tadka, she is a woman, so you can call it demoness if you like, So Tadka, a demon or demoness, a woman, she comes and attacks them or wants to attack them. But then Ram is careful because already Vishwamitra alerted him. He is careful. As soon as she wants to come and attack them, Vishwamitra says, look. Here she is. And Ram is ready with his arrow and bow. And Vishwamitra basically orders him that you just get rid of him now. So Ram attacks, kills, shoots an arrow, and with one arrow he kills Tataka. So that's where the adventure of Ram as a warrior starts. That's where we see first. That's the purpose of Vishwamitra. 2 purposes. One is this, other we'll talk later today. To show the whole world that a very brave person has descended on this planet. His name is Ram. And at a tender age, a 15, 16 years old young boy is so virtuous, so courageous, so brave that he can kill demons. So that gives a message to the entire demon community all over the world. I'm sure immediately WhatsApp messages were sent to their group. There was a demon WhatsApp group, and they sent a message. Oh, this young boy has killed our mother, Tadka. Be careful, man. This is the times have changed. So that WhatsApp message went through very quickly, and a message was spread all over wherever the demons were living. So that is one of the reasons they said we shouldn't have brought. So they reached ashram, and then now Ram says, okay, now we are here. Now why don't you start your yajna? That's why you called us, because you couldn't do yajna, you couldn't do worship of God, because these demons will bother you. Well, Ram, not that fast. She's not the only one. There are a lot of other demons here. So they will bother. You don't worry. We'll take care of them. So you do yajna without any fear. Be fearless. So there is a line in Ramcharitmanas, which is a very important line. It says, Nirbhay Jagya Karau Tum Bhai. That Nirbhay Jagya Karau Tum Jai. Jai means go. Jag is yajna. Everybody knows yajna. What is yajna? Okay, Anjana, you spoke. I want another new person. Okay, Medansh, go ahead. What is yajna? Medansh.
Yajna is a type of worship.
Okay, and how is it done?
It
Ishan?
is done by.
Yeah, go ahead, Medansh.
Okay, so it is done by lighting some fire on and make some ingredients on it by the powerful mantras.
Very good. Wonderful. So you know what yajna is. So even when people get married in yajna, there's a yajna. They put a fire, and there's a panditji. He recites mantra and do some offerings to that fire, and then marriage is performed. So that is yajna. There are many types of yajna. We don't have to go to details, but
Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead, Ishan.
So yajna is a worship that has been conducted by Pandits and Brahmins to celebrate the glory and to celebrate the arrival of a god.
Yeah, so yajna can be done for many reasons. So that could be one reason. So yajna can be done for at the wedding time. Yajna can be done to invoke gods. Yajna can be done for many other reasons. Sometimes there's a famine in the country, and then they'll perform yajna that God, please give us rain. There's so much famine, no crops are coming up. So all that happens. So when they started doing yajna, then Tadka has two sons. One is Marich, other is Subahu. Now some stories say that one, Marich was her son, Subahu was like his cousin, Marich's cousin. But they were two brothers, either real brothers or cousins. So they already got the news that their mother has been killed by these guys. So they were already very angry that who on the earth is this who dared to kill our mother. At any rate, they wouldn't like all these rishis to do yajna. So they came and started attacking this yajna performance. And when Ram and Lakshman saw that they are attacking, so now they had to protect. So first Ram shot an arrow on Marich, but that arrow was without the point. Arrow had a point in the front. That point comes and hits you, and that pierces your chest and kills a person or head or something. But that point was taken out. It was like a blunt arrow, right? You have two kind of knives, right? Sharp knife and blunt knife. So blunt knife you use for one purpose. Blunt, can't cut. You can't unless you really try hard. It's not going to bleed you or anything like that. But sharp knife, it touches, it bleed you. So he shot a blunt arrow on Marich. So it will not kill him, but it will take him away. So it shot with such a precision that it went away and went all the way to Lanka and fell down there. He didn't die, but he reached all the way to Lanka. And as the legend says that he reaches there and he realizes that this man is very powerful. He can shoot an arrow and so cleverly that it won't kill me, but shoot me to thousands of miles away, here all the way to Lanka. And they were all agents for Ravan. But Ravan had deputed them all over so that, no good things happen, no virtuous things happen, no yajna happens, no prayers happen. So Ravan must have seen him that, what are you doing here, buddy? I had sent you there. And how come you are here? That, sir, I didn't come by choice. That this young boy there is so powerful. First of all, he killed my mommy, and then he shot me an arrow. And look how he shot. So with so precision that I didn't die, but I landed up here. So he is very, very powerful. So now better stop all your mischiefs, behave. Otherwise, your end is near. Looks like he sent me here alive to give you that message. So this is the first time Ravan gets a message, direct message from one of his own agents, Marich, that somebody has appeared on this earth who could potentially kill him. So Ravan has known all along that something is happening. Now let's come back to ashram here, sage's ashram. So the other brothers above, Ram instantly killed him because there's no need to send him to Lanka. Ravan already got the message. And there was a huge army they brought with them, along with them. And that our other brother Lakshmana said, oh, I got to do some work here. I'm not going to just watch all this drama. So, okay, you can kill all this, the rest of the army. So he killed the rest of the army. So all these demons were killed in that ashram or near that ashram. So that purpose that sage Vishwamitra told to King Dashrath was served, which is to get rid of demons so they can be fearless and they can perform their religious holy rituals, yajna and other things. So now they should go back home, right? So in normal times, Ram would have told him, look, are there any more demons left? And Vishwamitra would have said, yeah, everybody's killed. So, okay, we are done. Let's go home now. Can we go home? But they didn't do that because it is the discipline they were following, that unless Guru tells them to go, we will not ask to go, because it is now we are under the control of Guru. We are under the guidance of Guru, under the supervision of our Guru, and right now our Guru is Sage Vishwamitra. So if Sage Vishwamitra is not telling us to go, we don't have to ask him. Then we think it is the right time to go, then we will go. So sometimes, there's a good lesson for all of us. We don't have to ask elders everything. When there's the right time, they will tell you that this is the right time. Okay, go and watch a movie, or this is the right time for you to go and play. This is the right time for you to do this. So we don't have to always ask. The parents or gurus should tell us or will tell us what is the right time to do what. So they were just waiting for the right time, and they were in the ashram, and they were taking care of the ashram chores and helping all the sages and Brahmins and all that. And then what happens? Then Vishwamitra gets a WhatsApp message from King Janak. There's another king, his name is Janak. So he sent a message, look, I'm doing a Dhanush Yagya, another type of Yagya where there's Dhanush, a big bow, and that's being worshipped. And he might have sent more details, but we'll talk about those later on. So you are invited to come here, sir, and bless us. So Sage says, okay, there's a Yagya is being performed, and we get invitation here. It was E-white. Those days E-white was very common. I'm joking all that, right? So he must have sent a messenger or something, right? But today they would have sent just an e-card, right? So when he got that invitation, he said, yeah, there's going to be Dhanush Yagya. So he asked Ram that, look, Ram, we got an invitation here to go to Janakpuri, or the king of Janakpuri, Janak, has invited us. So do you guys want to come? Now they were under the control, I shouldn't say control, they were under the supervision or guidance of Guru. So they would say, whatever you say, sir. So Guru says, would you like to come? That means Guru wants us to come. So they wouldn't say, no, we don't want to come. And they're kids, still teenagers. They say, oh yeah, that must be fun. Let's go. Yeah, we'll go. So they all get ready to go to Janakpur. Now let's talk a little bit about Janakpur. So what is Janak in Janakpur? Okay, who has not spoken? Anybody knows what is Janak or who is Janak or what is Janakpur? Anjay, you spoke already. Anybody? I want some new people to speak. Janak, anybody knows Janak? Devanshi, she is hiding. Amya, do you know Janak? Never heard that name? Okay. Only two people, they already spoke. I want some new. Ayati, do you know Janak? The name sounds familiar. Okay, all right, I'll go to Anjani. Go ahead, Anjani.
So Janak is the king of Janakpur, and he was also Sita's father.
Okay, so now we know about Ram and we know about Sita, right? That we all know. That much story everybody knows. So Sita was born in a different place, right? Like Ram was born in Ayodhya. Sita was born in a city called Janakpur. Right? So Janakpur, the king of Janakpur, his name was Janak. That's how the name came, Janakpur. It was named after him. So Janak is the name of the king of Janakpur, or I should say, Janakpur was the capital of that state, which is Mithila. So three words I'm going to use. Like in Ayodhya, king is Dashrath, in the state is Kausal. So just like, we have a state, India, and its prime minister is Modi, right? And capital is Delhi, right? Or in the US, the country is US, the president is Joe Biden, and the capital is Washington, D.C. Something like that. Or like United Kingdom, you have, country United Kingdom, the capital is London, its prime minister, I don't know who the prime minister is. Anybody knows who is the prime minister of UK?
Isn't it monarchy, like someone's ruling it?
No, prime minister. There's a monarchy, but there's like queen, but they are figureheads. The prime minister is just like in India, prime minister is Modi. We have the president, but then president doesn't really rule. Yeah, go ahead, Anisha.
Sir, is Boris Johnson.
Okay. So Janakpur state, of which Janakpur is the capital, and the king is Janak. So his daughter Sita was to get married, and he put a condition. He had a big, huge bow of Lord Shiva. That Lord Shiva gave him for some reason many, many years ago. Actually, he didn't give Janak, but gave him his forefathers. That's a long story. We'll not get into that. So when Sita was a little younger, like 4 or 5 years old, while she was playing, like all kids play, so she was playing where that big, huge bow was there. And it was so heavy, people can't even move it. So when the cleaners came to clean it, they cleaned the upper surface. They could not clean the bottom because they couldn't move it. It was so heavy. So Princess Sita thought, oh, this needs to be cleaned. So this guy is clean at the top of it, but the bottom is all dirty. So let me just lift it so I can clean. And she just touched it and lifted it. And when people saw it, they were all shocked that we have been trying for years and we just couldn't even move it. And this girl had lifted. So she has some super strengths, supernatural strengths. So then the King Janak decided that, wow, if she has such supernatural powers, when she grows up, I want her to marry to someone who is just as powerful, has such virtues as she has. So he said, anybody who would be able to lift this arrow and actually break it in 2 pieces, I would marry my daughter to that young man. So that's why he performed this Dhanush Yagya. When she got up, the marriageable age, he declared that, look, okay, we are going to have this. All the kings are invited, princes are invited. Come and give it a try. If you can lift this arrow and break it, Sita will marry him. Okay, Shreyans, you want to say something? Shreyans?
So, I don't think that King Janak said that you could break it. He said that whoever could lift it could marry Sita.
Okay. Okay, that's it. So one is that he said you just lift it, that's enough. Other is you lift it and break it. So later on in when we go further down, courtsmen will declare in their yagya that anybody who can lift it and break it, Sita will marry him. So that's a one version. But there are many versions of the stories. Yes, Anjana, go ahead.
I thought that in Ramayana it was written that whoever could lift the bow and string it would.
String. So there are, so one is you can lift it, bow and string it. Other is you can lift, string it and break it. So there are several versions of this story. So that is Dhanush Yagya. So Ram, so when Vishwamitra said, okay, they didn't know all these details of the story, why it is performed, why not. The Guru says you want to go and see some there's fun going on there. It's just like going to a fair or Disney World or something like that. Oh, yeah, we'll go, let's have some fun. So they go with him. While they go on their way, so their main purpose of coming to Vishwamitra ashram is completed, which is to free them from all the demons. But Vishwamitra has much bigger purpose. He didn't declare that to King Dashrath. Now, while they're going, those days they used to walk. They didn't have, airplanes and cars and all that. Now kings have chariots and horses. Now sages didn't have all the chariots, and so they were walking, and they come across while you're walking. You're going to the forest, and there will be ashrams, and there will be villages, and all that. So when they come across an area which appeared to be very deserted, like there's no life. There were trees. There were no trees, there were no birds, there were no dogs, cats, snakes, nothing. It was just deserted. There were ashram, there was no signs of any life, no human being, nothing. It was a very depressing scene. So what's going on here? Usually ashrams are full of life. There will be, sages, there will be greenery, there will be food, there will be birds, there will be animals, there will be cows. There's nothing like that. So they're wondering what's going on. So I'm wondering what's going on. And then they see there's a big stone there. Again, there is different versions of the story. Is it a stone or what is it? But we'll take it as a stone there. So there's a big stone there. So Ram wonders, what is this wilderness? There's no life and there's one big stone in front of this ashram. So he's very curious. What is it? So we asked Sage that, oh, Guru, what? This is very strange. It's a very depressing scene. No life, no human being, not even animals, no vegetation. And there's just one big stone lying here. So Vishwamitra tells his story. And it's a long story. We will not go over that in details, that this is just not a stone. She has been cursed by her husband. She has been married to another sage. His name is, what was the name of that sage?
Lord
Whose
Buddha.
Gautam. So Sage Gautam, and you are getting mixed up with Gautam Buddha. And I'm glad you brought that up, so I'll clarify that in a minute. So she is actually a woman, and she is wife of Sage Gautam. And there's something happened, and that story will not go over here. So he cursed her to become stone. So she is in form of a stone, but she is a human being. And the only salvation path that she has, that you touch her, she wants to get your charana raj, the sand of your your feet. So basically, she wants to touch your feet. And if you be kind enough to touch her by your feet, she'll come back to life. Again, it's an order of Guru, right? So when order says you do that, those says that you don't question a Guru. You don't question a parent. You just do it. So he says, whatever you say, Guru. So he touches that stone, not the woman. She's not a woman yet. The stone she touches very gently with her feet, his feet. And then she emerges into a very nice, beautiful woman. And as soon as she emerges a beautiful woman, she starts praying to, because this is a very divine act. We can't convert a stone into a woman or a man, right? None of us have that power. Only a divine intervention can do that. So she realized that what I see in front of me is none other than God himself. So she prays to Lord Ram. And after prayer, she goes wherever her husband, Rishi Gautam, is. So this is called Ahilya stone. So her name is Ahalya, Ahalya. So Ahilya is wife of sage Gautam. Gautam is not same as Gautam Buddha. See, you like here.
Where is I don't know. He must be disconnected due to network problems.
I mean, I lost the connection. Did you also lose the connection? You didn't lose it.
No, sir.
No,
voice
we were
started
in the
Oh, so I lost. So I don't know how I lost the connection. Okay, I'm glad at least you didn't lose the connection, which is good actually. How is that I lost and you didn't lose? That's good thing. Okay. So this is how Sage Vishwamitra gave a message to the world that it's not only a very brave, very courageous prince has been born, which happened earlier by killing those demons. But here is a person who is not a person, he's the incarnation of God himself, because only God can do such divine cause, right? So the second message is given to the world that look, just not an ordinary prince, he's a very brave prince, very courageous prince, very bold prince, but on the top of that, he is a very divine prince. In fact, he himself is divinity. this is where that message is spread. Now, such messages obviously spread, right? Probably the world all over, they knew that Gautam has cursed his wife to become a stone, and now she's become woman. And this is not something an ordinary human being can do. So when the sages did certain things, they had a much bigger agenda or much bigger purpose in their mind. So you have any question? We can, before we move on. I didn't stop. Yes, beta, go ahead. Amen.
So why did Gotham curse his wife?
Okay, so I didn't want to go over that story in great detail, but let me give you that story short since you asked me. Once Gautam and his wife Ahilya, they lived in an ashram just like any husband and wife would live. And there's this king. Early morning he woke up and went to the river to take his bath, and so that he can perform his daily rituals. So while he's gone, this king of gods called Indra, which you probably have heard of, he was very much attracted towards this lady Ahilya. Ahilya was so beautiful, very gorgeous woman, and he wanted to have a relationship with Ahilya. So he disguised himself as sage Gautam. So he comes to home, and Ahilya thinks that her husband has come because he looked like him, right? So the king of gods, Indra, committed a fraud, a deception with Ahilya, and he had a relationship with Ahilya. And lo and behold, soon after, and then he left, obviously. And after a few minutes, the real sage Gautam comes. And then Ahilya shocked that what happened? Weren't you here earlier? They go, no, I'm just coming. And then these sages were, visionary. They could close their eyes and they can imagine what is going on. So he closed his eyes and said, what happened? And he could see what had happened. And then he got so mad at say that you are like stone. Couldn't you recognize that he was not your husband? It was not me. He was somebody else. So since you were like a stone, you couldn't even see anything. I cursed you to become a stone. That's one version of the story. There are some other versions which are small variants of the same story. So this is the reason he cursed her. Though it was not really her fault in one way, but in some way it was her fault. But then these things can be debated. Okay, any other question? All right, now they move forward and now they reach Janakpuri. So when they are in the outskirts of Janakpuri, and the kings, the agents were all over welcoming people who were coming for the Dhanushagya, and they saw sage coming, and they sent messages to King Janak that look, sage Vishwamitra, whom we have sent an invitation, he has actually come. So Janak is very happy. He comes along with his ministers and his gurus to welcome sage Vishwamitra, and they come and say, oh, welcome, sir. Thank you for coming. And oh, who are the young boys? They didn't know that two boys are going to come with them. Then Vishwamitra says, well, I didn't really ask your permission, but these two boys are the princes or sons of King Dasharatha. And of course, Janak knew Dasharatha. He was also a king. So kings knew each other. They thought, oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad that he brought them with you. So many times you are invited to a party, and then sometimes your very fast friend comes, or your cousin comes, your brother comes to live with you in the vacation time. So you take that person with you and say, oh, he's my friend. So he has come to visit me, so I brought him. Similar thing. Okay, well, yeah, we are welcome. So he provides them a very nice, cottage or ashram to live with all the facilities and servants. They'll take care of you while you are here, and we welcome you and thank you very much. So there is Janakpuri. So in the morning time is a prayer time, and you need flowers to pray. So Guru tells them that, look, we need some flowers. So there is a beautiful garden here in Janakpur. So go and get some flowers so we can do the puja. And both brothers go to that garden, and that garden is called Pushpa Batika. Pushpa means what? Pushpa is a Hindi word. What does it mean in English?
Flower.
Flower. Pushpa, many girls have named like
Flowers.
Pushpa. You know any girl with the name Pushpa?
No, sir, but I've read stories with the character name Pushpa.
Yeah. So Pushpa is, a lot. I mean, I think nowadays I think in my time, a lot of girls used to have name Pushpa. So Pushpa means flower. So when girls' name generally you add Pushpa is flower, and the boy's name you could have a name. I used to have a friend. His name was Pushparaj. So the king of flowers. That was his name, Pushparaj. So Pushpa can be a name of a boy, and if it's a girl, you would probably call Pushpa. So Pushpa. That's how names are given in Hindi. Pushpa Vatika, and Vatika means garden. So Pushpa Vatika means flower garden. So they go to the Pushpa Vatika to pick up the flowers, and while they are picking the flowers, it so happens at the same time, since Sita was to get married, how much time we still have? Another 15 minutes, I think. I usually forget the time. Since Sita was to get married, so Sita's mother sent Sita along with her friends that go to Pushpatika, and there's a temple of goddess Parvati and worship goddess Parvati. Who is Parvati? Ayati, yeah, go ahead.
Ma Parvati is the wife of Shiv.
Yeah, very good. So
And
Parvati,
the mother
Parvati
is also Ganesha.
Parvati is wife of God Shiv, Lord Shiv, and she is mother of Ganesh and
His
so,
brother Kartikeya.
his brother Kartikeya. So she has two sons. One is Ganesh, other is Kartikeya. So who is older, Ganesh or Kartikeya?
Kartikeya.
Kartike.
Kartikeya, very good. So Kartikeya is older brother and Ganesh is younger brother. So that tradition even continues now. When they listen in Indian culture, when a wedding happens, just before the wedding, a day before or 2 days before, the girl's parents will take their daughter to a temple, Parvati temple, and she will worship Parvati. So it's called Gauri Puja. Gauri Puja means worship of Gauri. Gauri is another name of Parvati. So that tradition even today happens. I've got two daughters. When both of them are married, when they got married a day before or 2 days before, I don't remember exact dates. We took her along with other friends and relatives and all her friends, and go to temple and worship Parvati. So Sita has also sent. Sita's mother has also sent Sita along with her friends to worship Parvati. Why Parvati's name became Parvati? How did she get the name Parvati? Any reason, or was just a name?
Because she lived in mountains.
Because she lived in mountains. Okay. Anybody else? Shok, Devanje, Namami, I don't see your faces. Do you know the answer why Parvati is Parvati? Her name is Parvati?
Sir, actually, I'm not well, so I'm keeping my camera off.
Oh, no, that's fine, but do you know why her name is Parvati? Ira, do you know why her name is Parvati?
Yes, sir. I know why Parvati's name is Parvati.
Why her name is Parvati?
Actually, sir, because when she wanted Shivji, she was a daughter of a Parvat, and
Very
Parvat
good.
is a mountain. That's
Right,
why
very
her name
good,
is
very
Parvati.
good. Very good. So she was daughter of mountain Himalaya, right? Himalaya we all know, right? So she was daughter of mountain Himalaya. So since the daughter of mountain, and mountain, one word for mountain is Parvat. Any mountain you can call Parvat. So she is daughter of Parvat. So her name is Parvati. A lot of times in those days, the children got named from their parents, generally from fathers, sometimes mothers. So like Sita, another name is Janaki. Why Janaki? She is the daughter of Janak.
Yes, and
Her father is
Sita is her name because she is the daughter of Mother Earth also.
Mhm.
She has got birth from Earth.
Right. So that you get name like that based on your names of your parents. So Parvati is because this is son of daughter, excuse me, daughter of Parvati. So Sita was sent there along with her friends to do worship of Parvati. So she did worship of Parvati, and while they worship, when they came out of temple, here Ram and Lakshmana was picking the flower, and they happened to see each other, right? And when they happen to see each other, and as we know, we say love at the first sight, right? You guys know that, right? Love at the first sight. So as Ram saw Sita and Sita saw Ram, it was like an instant love. Immediately they got attracted towards each other, and they fell in love. But they did not express, they kept in their heart and kept quiet and didn't do anything. So after that, well, they saw each other, they got attracted towards each other, but there was no expression of that. There was nothing beyond that. So what happens then? They came back, Ram and Lakshmana came back to their guru with flowers, and they, okay, Guru, we brought his flowers. They did the worship and went, did their business as usual. Here Sita comes back with her friends to the palace, and they continue their business as usual. But it was in their heart. Ram had that developed desire to marry Sita, and Sita had developed a desire to marry Ram. But Sita knew that she just can't marry anybody because there's a condition her father has put forth. We just talked about that condition. And she says, this is a huge bow, and nobody can lift it. And my father has put such a condition. How is this young boy going to lift it? He's only 15, 16. So they were very young at that time. Those days, probably the people used to get married at a very young age. Even in my time or time just before my time, the marriage of teenagers was very common in India. So what do we do? Well, there's nothing you can do. So she just prayed in the temple itself to Goddess Parvati, that Goddess Parvati, you know how I feel. I like this young man, and please help me if I can get married to him. And Goddess Parvati blessed her that you have true and genuine love for Ram, and so your desire will come true. So now the day comes for the Dhanush Yagya, the big event to happen. So all the princes and kings were summoned that, okay, at 9 a.m. in the morning on this day, just come here in the courtyard of King Janak, and we will have this Dhanush Yagya. So everybody came, and since Sage was, Vishwamitra was a very invited guest, he came along with both the boys. King offered him a very nice, chair or seat. And then King's agents or guards rose and they declare that, look, you guys all know why we have invited you. We have invited you because of King Janak wants his daughter to get married. And his daughter will marry to anyone without any condition, provided he does this. And they put forth this condition. That, look, you can see this Dhanush, this bow belongs to Lord Shiva. It's very big, you can see that, and it's very heavy. You can't even move it. You touch it and you can't even move even 1 centimeter. But if anybody can move it and lift it, and as we have multiple conditions here, just lift it, or lift it up a string, or lift it and break into parts, to that person Sita will marry. So now let's go. Just raise your hand who wants to come here. So all these princes who are very excited to get married to Sita, they started raising and I want to go, I want to be first. So they started coming one at a time. So one person comes, he starts touching, and nothing happens. So if you watch serial Ramayana, there was a show made in India. It's a 40 years ago, about very popular serial Ramayana.
Actually, we have seen it. Actually, my mother, my grandmother, everybody has seen it before, but I have not seen it because I was not born at that time.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
now
of course.
in lockdown, it came on TV, so I watched it.
Because, yeah, it has come multiple
तो
times. Even now,
एक्चुअली मैंने देखा नहीं है, मैंने उसका बुक पढ़ा है.
उसको बुक पढ़ा है. हाँ, नहीं, उसको आप देख भी सकते हो. और even the TV, it comes streams all the time. You know. So he said, look, so that's a very funny scene. You know, when you see the reason I said about that serial, when you see this scene, the kings come and they touch and they fall down and things like that. They create a little comedy there. So the bottom line is none of these princes are able to lift it, let alone lift and string it, all that stuff. So King Janak gets a little perturbed, right? If nobody is going to lift this bow, that means nobody will be able to marry Sita. That means Sita will remain unmarried all her life. And no father likes that, right? So no father likes that. So King says, look, in this assembly of all you brave kings and princes you've assembled here, hundreds and thousands of you, Nana, you're all very weak. You're all very coward. You don't have any strength. Why on the earth you even come here? He got very angry. So he was very sad. When you get sad, sometimes you get very angry. When he said those words, it's just, I want to say something, but
Why was the bow very heavy?
oh, because it was Lord Shiva's bow, right? The Lord Shiva's bow by nature was very heavy. Lord Shiva is not going to carry something very light, right? So it's God's, so it's very heavy. So when he got very angry and he said this kind of words, that all of you are very weak, you don't have any courage, you can't do anything, you guys are just useless. So Lakshmana got very upset, that how dare anybody can talk like that where my brother Ram is here, right? My brother is so powerful, he can lift this arrow in just 1 second. What is the big deal about it? I can lift it. I can just lift the whole arrow. I can lift the whole world. I can lift the whole earth. We are so powerful. And this king dares to tell us like this. So Lakshman got very, very angry. So he rose, but he didn't even take permission from his brother or sage, which is unusual, right? But he was so angry, he could not control himself. So he rose and he said, oh, king, how dare you talk like this? If all these kings and princes have not been able to lift this bow, doesn't mean that we can lift it. We are very polite, we are very modest, so we are sitting here quietly. That doesn't mean we can't do it. We can lift it, and we can lift you, we can lift the whole earth, we can lift the whole universe. What do you think? So King Janak was a little bit embarrassed and he said, oh, I'm really sorry. And so now Vishwamitra said, this is the right time, because there's too much tension here going on right now. If Lakshmana gets very upset, he will pick up his weapons. And if he starts shooting, there will be whole chaos here. We don't want that. So at the right time, right thing has to be spoken. So far, Vishwamitra says nothing because there was no right time. Now Ram could have lifted the bow in the very beginning. But again, Vishwamitra wanted to give that message to the whole world. That look, nobody on this planet is as brave, as courageous, as powerful, as strong as Ram. If other people would not have tried, they would have said, oh, we didn't get a chance. We could have done it, right? Sometimes we say that, oh, I could have done it before. But then now everybody tried and nobody can do it. So he says, yeah, this is the right time for me to do something. Now Sage Vishwamitra says very calmly to Ram, the Ram, look, this is the right time. Now King Janak is in a grief. He is very sad. And that's why he's very angry. So he said certain words he should not have spoken, which is really not his fault. As a father, anybody will get so upset. So now you rise and fulfill the desire of King Janak. So Ram again follows order of the Guru. He doesn't question him. So he rises, bows to his Guru, takes his blessings, and goes towards bow. And while the whole court is watching what's going on, and they are all wondering, this little kid is going to lift it. We couldn't lift it. We are so brave. And they say he's making fun of himself. But we all know the story. He goes there and lifts the arrow. And according to Ramcharitmanas, he breaks into two parts. So his the condition of king is satisfied. So the king is very happy. Oh my God, I'm glad it's all over. And then his guru, Satanand, who happens to be son of Ahilya and Gautam, he orders Sita that look, that condition has been fulfilled. So you put garland on Ram. You know, as we know in Hindu marriage, the girls put garland at the wedding time on the bride, on the bridegroom first, and the other way around. So Sita comes with her friends and she puts garland on Ram. So that condition has been met. They are not yet married because still is in the process. So I think this is where it's already 11 o'clock my time. So that's, I think, the time for us to stop. So it's about 2 more minutes left. So let me stop and give you a chance to ask any question, comment, or anything you have in mind. Anybody? From today's story. Yes, go ahead, Ishan, your question. So nobody has any question or any comment, I think. So do you guys watch a YouTube video after the class is over during those 2 weeks time window?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
sir,
should
to
watch.
remember everything, just in case we forget.
Sometimes.
So it's kind of, you should, because, we've got 2 weeks and it takes like 2-3 days for us to prepare a YouTube video window, I'm saying. So if I forget to say today, we meet on Sunday. So if by Wednesday we don't have YouTube placed, then you send me a message on WhatsApp and we place that and watch it during that 2 weeks. So it kind of revises, right? It's kind of a revision, a review of what we have done in that class. And if you suppose miss some class, sometimes you miss a class, then you can always watch that. So you review what has happened. So I hope you have all signed in on the chat your name and your roll number. And since I was disconnected, so I'm not sure whether the real chat is there. So even if you've not done it, do it one more time right now. Just in the chat, just put your name and your roll number. And after that, we'll close to this class. And I will see you on 10th October, I think. All right. Okay. Thank you. Just make sure you write your name. Yeah. I can see I wrote your name and your roll number. Okay. And you can also tell your parents if anybody wants to join the class, just to observe that what we are doing, they're welcome to do that. Okay. If you all put your name and your roll number in chat, we can exit. We're done with it. Thank you and have a nice day or nice evening, whatever is your time zone.